Hello, everyone. I am Krandall Brantley from Buckeyes Daily, and flip season continues. OSU got four-star athlete. He flipped his commitment from Tennessee to Ohio State, and he's currently a QB at North Forney in Texas, the top 300 overall prospect and the number 8 athlete in the 2026 class. But check this out. This kid runs a 4.33. That's elite speed that OSU could use. Bay was committed to Tennessee for 4 months back in September, and he said that he was 100% committed and locked in right now at Tennessee at that time. So fast forward to October. Oh, and this. Bay even said that he had no plans to make any other visits to other schools. That's how much he was locked in to Tennessee. So he fast forward to October, and he visited Ohio State for the Penn State game. And OSU's primary recruiter for this one was running backs coach Carlos Lachlan. And so I'm assuming that he'll be potentially the running back for Ohio State. He's listed as an athlete. Or it could be similar to what Urban Meyer had at the H-back position with Curtis Samuel. He could line up as running back, slot receiver, and maybe he returns some punts. Like, I wouldn't mind him returning some punts early in his career. I mean, we already have Bo Jackson and Isaiah West as the home run hitters. They'll have another year in their belt for experience. So it could be his way to shine early on in the program by returning punts or kickoffs. And that could be the missing piece for Ohio State next year. They haven't had that. I know Caleb Downs had a punt return last year, but hasn't been consistent. I mean, this could be like Jalen Marshall 2014, maybe for next year. Legend Bay comes in and shows out that talent early on. And look, if anything else next year, this will definitely be one of the best names in college football, along with Kent State's Darius Clark, who happens to return kickoffs. So let Legend Bay do that for Ohio State, and they'll be saying his name quite often on the broadcast. Week 12 injury updates. OSU's backup right guard, Josh Padilla. He missed the Purdue game, but Dave even said this is not a long-term injury. He said, we're hoping to get him back next week. He didn't make the trip, so we knew he'd be out. We'll continue to look at it next week, but if he's not back next week, he should be back in 2 weeks. So if he's not playing against UCLA, he will be back for the Rutgers game week before the game. So not a long-term injury for Padilla. And look, if Tegra continues to be consistent with the right guard spot, Josh Padilla could be the unsung hero of this team if they were to move on in the championship, similar to Donovan Jackson last year, when you get all the injuries, and you had Josh Simmons go out, and Donovan Jackson's like, all right, I'm not supposed to be out here left tackle, but there, I'm here. So this could be the chance for them, or maybe Tegra progresses this last month and he shows up the right guard spot in the run game. The pass game's already been good for pass blocking, but if he shows that up, OSU's not going to lose a game if they can run efficiently and great. And they also mentioned that Colonel Tate could have played this past weekend. They rested him and gave other guys a chance to step up, and that's what happened. Bryson Rogers had a good catch, Marlon Graham had a catch, and Max Clare had a career day. So those guys stepped up, and Brandon Ennis, I believe, had 3 catches on a day. UCLA. Night game in the shoe against UCLA. UCLA, this will be the first time they play Ohio State since they joined the Big Ten. And it's the first time UCLA will visit the shoe since 1999. At that time period, OSU was number 13 in the country. UCLA was 14th in the country, and OSU ended up doubling up the score. They won 42-20. But this time in 2025, this is not a top 15 matchup at all. UCLA has been struggling for most of the year. They're coming off a loss at home to Nebraska. It was a decent team, but if you expect to compete with OSU in the shoe, you are not. You got to beat Nebraska at home. And this is Nico Iamaleave's return to Columbus after last year's playoff beatdown. He was starting quarterback at Tennessee. And the bright spot of the season for UCLA was and Nico was their win against Penn State. At the time, was a top 10 team. Nico ran for 3 touchdowns, had 128 on the ground, and Penn State had no answer for him, and they were able to score 40 plus and beat Penn State, which was supposed to be an insane upset at that time. But Penn State hasn't even won a Big Ten game yet, so isn't that much of an upset now. But that gave the team confidence for the time period. But look, there's the reason why it's 31.5 point spread for OSU to win. UCLA is ranked 113th in scoring defense and 124th in rushing yards allowed per game. Not to mention, it's a cross-country road trip, which has been just messing up all the Big Ten teams when they go out to the West Coast or the flip. It just hasn't been good for that team outside of Ohio State winning at Washington. It just seems like the team has to travel cross country, usually is playing sluggish, and they lose. So it doesn't seem like OSU's going to struggle against the Bruins this week. Okay. So this happens to be a strange November. We're used to being in playoff mode where every game is basically an elimination game and the season's on the line. But the way it's a 12-team playoff, OSU being undefeated, and just blowing teams out, it seems weird. And they're playing teams like UCLA and Rutgers who aren't supposed to test Ohio State. So we're just counting down the days and weeks until the game. And so I say this is partly due to Ohio State dominating. They haven't been tested since week one. And teams like Penn State were supposed to be a top 5 team. They fell off. And then look at the schedule before the season, at Washington, at Illinois, at Wisconsin, that stretch is supposed to be like a gauntlet, especially for a young team with all these, like replacing some of these starters. It seems like one of those games is going to be like a trap game, but none of them were. OSU rolled in all of them, including the first one, Washington, where they were still had the training wheels for Julian Sayin. And so now it's November, and some fans are complaining about, night game for UCLA. What? Like, what's the better option? Rutgers, they're like, what are they? They're 2-5 in conference play. Then you have 2-8 Penn State. So I appreciate this having a night game. Thanks to NBC's broadcast rights, media rights for the Big Ten. They chose Ohio State, and so get another night game in the shoe. And so I say this: let's enjoy these games. Let's enjoy the week progression of this team, because regardless of what happens at the end of the season, we're going to sit back in February. It's going to be freezing cold, snowing. We're going to think like, dang, I can't wait for some football in the fall. So let's enjoy it now. All right, go Bucks.